Des, you have just started and completed directing. I suppose you've just handed it over to the stage manager now?
We're still actually working, believe it or not. There's a saying that musicals don't get finished, they just get opened. So, you keep working really right to the last possible second, and then finally you do have to freeze them and quite right, hand it over to the stage manager. But I'm not quite willing to let it go yet.
I actually saw your last rehearsal and you had a different actor coming in when Yuri comes home and finds his family gone.
A different actor, you mean playing Yuri Zhivago?
No, 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 no.
Sorry.
Although that's some topic, isn't it? He
Yeah.
had a calf problem. He tore a ligament.
Yeah, he did. We had an understudy on the weekend, but it turned out to be a great thing because I think it proved to us that we have a really strong show. Anton Berezin, who played Yuri Zhivago, was all really quite brilliant, and the audience rose to its feet, and it was terrific. We're very happy, nonetheless, to have Anthony Warlow back, but it was actually a good kind of trial by fire to go through.
But in these professional productions, you do replace people if you think that, at the last minute it's not quite working, don't you?
Yeah, I would be hard pressed to do that. If someone's not working out in a part, often they know it themselves, and it would happen very, very early in the process. And you avoid that really. You try to go through a really thorough casting process to be sure that you've got the best people. Sometimes, injuries and illness, of course, get in our way, and we have to be ready for that. So we always have understudies and covers and people ready to go on, and because as the saying goes, the show must go on.
Do you think this season will be extended?
I think the run here is actually limited because of the theater for the schedule for the lyric. So I think if people want to see the show, they need to get their tickets because they're getting scarce as the run goes on. I would love to see this run extended in some way. I'd love to see it, Dr. Zhivago in Australia for as long as possible. First of all, I love coming here and I want an excuse to come back.
Quite often in Australian period pieces in musicals, people put on an English accent, for example, or a Russian, for example, here.
You're right.
You've chosen to put an Australian accent in there. Is that a deliberate choice, or?
It never makes any sense to me when you're doing a production, for example, in English, to do, if it's meant to be Russia, to do a Russian accent, because why are you translating it into English? It would make sense if you were doing an English play with a Russian character to have a Russian accent. So I've never quite bought that. There are various kinds of Australian dialects, and the actors that we're working with are very well trained, and it's possible to bring a kind of a glorious neutrality to an Australian accent in the same way that you can bring that kind of universality to a Canadian accent. I'm a Canadian, so I'm used to doing this. I run a large classical repertory company, so we face this question all the time. What do you do with the plays of William Shakespeare? And I think it's more honest and truthful for people to speak in their own voices and not with affected accents, and so that's what we've chosen to do here. And we also try to pay some attention to class. The class of the characters. Yuri Zhivago is certainly ancien regime, so he speaks in a particular fashion in an Australian dialect, but we try to convey that sense of class.
And you're dressed as the Mask today. Are you going to a dress-up party? Or are you just doing it for Rachel because she's Irish?
I'm actually Irish myself,
Are you?
McAnuff, yeah. Well, it's Paul Smith's suit. It's a little audacious for a man of my advancing years, but, it's a gift from a Christmas present from my wife, so I thought I'd kind of compete with with Tessa's costumes in the show and, flash it up a little.
So this is opening night officially tonight, is it?
It's actually opening night on Saturday. Yeah, so
Okay.
Saturday night. We still have a rehearsal today. Once you guys move on, we'll be rehearsing all afternoon. And then we have a rehearsal tomorrow, performances tonight and tomorrow, and then we'll do very little rehearsing on Saturday, probably just notes.
How many hours a week does everybody rehearse and get together and work?
It varies, but with overtime, these can be long weeks, long hours. I was in here early this morning, and I was here till after midnight last night, and you know, that's true of most of the design team. The actors are, of course, singing, so we wouldn't want them to work 12 hours every day, but they certainly have long days, no question about it. Doing a musical, somebody once described doing a large musical as a combination of you know, conducting a moon launch and running a major hotel, and I think that's a pretty apt description. Their new musicals are very, very challenging enterprises.
And you've got to move to a new venue in 8 weeks' time. You've got to rehearse in the new space?
There'll be some rehearsal in the new space, yeah, but it's really designed, you know, to move. So we've been thinking about that for some months, you know, which would be kind of normal practice on a large show like this that's playing more than one venue.
Well, as we say in Australia, chookers, hope the show goes very well.
Thank you. Good. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm Des McAnuff, and you're watching the Theatre Network.